I have finally gotten around to watching Kraven the Hunter, the highly criticised nail in the coffin to the Sony Spider-Verse. And, well, I quite liked it. Hi everybody, it's Peter here, your ginger Geordie geek. Welcome back to the channel. Now before we get into this kind of delayed review, please do us a favour and hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help the whole algorithm thingy majiggy. Right then, on today's video we are going to talk a little bit about Kraven the Hunter. Now I know I am behind the curve on this review. This movie at this point has been out a good while, probably about 6 months or so, but here is the truth, ladies and gentlemen. I couldn't give a toss about this film. Now, for a comic book nerd like myself, that's quite scary to say. I've been through the doors on opening night for pretty much every superhero related movie since probably Batman 89. But something about the Sonyverse just leaves me cold. I haven't particularly enjoyed many of their entries. Sweet baby Jesus, Madam Web was possibly the biggest pile of dog shite I've ever sat through. Now this weekend I'm sat with the missus watching some tripe on TV and we spot that Kraven is now $1.99. And we thought, you know what? It's got to be worth $1.99, doesn't it? Let's give it a go. Now let us start off by saying to you, if you are a fan of Spider-Man comics and Kraven the Hunter, aside from a couple of Easter eggs in it, this isn't going to really do it for you. This has got a very, very weak link to any version of Kraven or Spider-Man I've ever seen. But if you can switch your brain off from that, if you can go in just thinking this is a bit of a silly superhero jaunt type movie and it's not Spider-Man, then you're probably going to have a bit of fun with the film. I'm going to start with the negatives and then end this video on some positives. And believe me, there are some positives in this film, but focusing on the negatives. First, off the bat, is the acting talent involved. There are some good performances in this, more on that later. But shit the bed, there's some bad dialogue in this, some really clunky scenes, and just poor acting. Bloke from Kick-Ass is great in the action sequences when he's jumping up walls and all that shite. But when he's just talking or being a human, I don't know, I just didn't buy it. I didn't like him. I didn't warm to him in any shape or form, really. And that's the big problem I have with this movie. The human relationships sucked. I didn't get the Calypso relationship with him. There was no love interest there. Maybe they were planning on doing that in a future film. I thought the Calypso elements were dire. They were contrived. They didn't make any sense whatsoever. And the acting in it was pretty darn horrific. The first opening scene where you see a young Calypso with her grandmother was cringe-worthy. And I thought, Jesus Christ, if this is what the rest of the film's going to be like, this is going to be dog shite. Well, I have to mention CGI. This film has got a lot of CGI in it. There's some CGI characters. There's lots of CGI action with people jumping off walls and castles falling on people. Yeah, and all that kind of stuff. And for the main part, it looks okay. There are some definite kind of PlayStation-esque sequences where it just doesn't fit and it looks a little bit odd. But you know what? It didn't detract us too much from the film. Now, some people are going to tell you the Rhino looks crap. What do you want? What do you want from this character? Do you know what I mean? I could live with the Rhino design. Don't think we saw enough of him as the big grey guy, but I don't think he was bad. There's some dodgy editing in this movie as well. At times, the scenes didn't seem to flow to me. Time jumped all over the place and I wasn't quite clear on what was going on. And there's been some obvious reshoots throughout this because there are sequences which, and I shit you not, people's mouths don't move when the characters are talking. The plot is by the numbers. Bloke gets superpowers and goes on the hunt after some bad guys. But you know what, again, it's not designed to win Oscars and it's mildly entertaining. And yes, there are some scenes or sequences which seem to linger for a good while and don't really gel. It's a bit of a kind of a movie by committee. It doesn't feel like it's had a cohesive writer throughout the way through. There's just bits of stuff chucked in all over the shop. But enough moaning. What about the positives? Well, do you know what? Kurt Russell is great in this. He's got a very dodgy Russian accent, but he is pretty good. I like his performance. I like the mythology of the Russian family and all that kind of stuff. In terms of Easter eggs, we get a few name drops. We get Miles Warren. We also get to see the chameleon in full-on chameleon white mask. I liked that. The action sequences are pretty darn good if you can forgive some dodgy CGI. Like I say, there's lots of action, there's gritty action, there's blood aplenty in this movie, there's lots going on, lots of jumping, lots of hitting, lots of knives and stuff being chucked around. So in terms of action, it did keep us entertained. The bad guys are interesting. You have generic Russian mob type people all the way through, but you also have the introduction of the Rhino character. This is a guy who's been experimented on by Miles Warren, who, if you're a Spider-Man fan, will know is the Jackal. He's been treated with this dose of whatever to give him some powers, basically. And over the course of the movie, his skin gets hardened and he turns into what we would classically refer to as the Rhino. Now, I liked this performance, and I thought the Rhino special effects were pretty good. We get a semi-decent fight at the end, although it did feel to me that it was over and done with pretty quickly. But you can see where the heart has been with the Rhino. They've gone for a more traditional look rather than the mecha version we got in Amazing Spider-Man. And you know what? I liked it. I'm there for it. I thought it was pretty good. The story ticks along and there are some pretty impressive set pieces. I particularly enjoyed the opening scene in the prison. I thought that was pretty good. There's a big chase sequence in the middle of the city where he's jumping over cars and stuff and then jumping out of a helicopter. Again, pretty good. The end point of the film is okay. It suffers, as many of these movies do, with a bit of a lackluster conclusion, I think. But overall, it was entertaining. It kept us going all the way through. So what's my overall feeling on this movie? Well, to be honest, I'm glad I didn't see it at the cinema. I think it deserves watching, but not necessarily paying money to see it on the big screen. It's got some great performances, but it's also got some naff performances. It's got a decent bit of action to it. It's got some dodgy CGI. It's got a plot which is a bit disjointed at times, but did keep us entertained. So, do I feel it's worthy of all the hate it seems to have gotten? Nah. I think this is a pretty middle of the range, bog standard action jaunt. It's something to watch when there's nought else on TV. It's not going to set the world alight, but actually it ticks a few boxes for an entertaining couple of hours. Okie dokie, ladies and gents, that's my thoughts on Kraven the Hunter. Please do let us know in the comments what you thought of this movie. If you like this kind of stuff, please do consider becoming a channel member. Your support helps a great deal. And do hit like and subscribe on this video. But for now, ladies and gents, that's your whack.